trade that sent shockwaves across the NBA. After days of intense speculation, the Celtics agreed to send former Finals MVP Jaylen Brown to the 76ers Wednesday. This came after Boston was, quote, full-blown shopping Brown around the league despite never demanding a trade, that being Jaylen Brown. Here are the details of this trade in full. So Boston sends Jaylen Brown to Philly. In return, the 76ers get Paul George, first-round picks in 2028, 2031, and second-round picks in 2028 and 2030. Kendrick Perkins, Vinny Goodwill joining us now. David, who do you think won this trade between the Celtics and the 76ers?
Clearly the Philadelphia 76ers won this trade. I'm just sitting here because I've been told all week, as we've been discussing this, trust Brad Stevens, right? Brad Stevens has to know something. He's got to be a guy that knows everything about Jaylen Brown. There's got to be some magical plan that Brad Stevens has. Vin, does this feel like a magical plan? Does this feel like a big plan by Brad Stevens? Does this feel like a chess move by Brad Stevens? This feels like a dude who did not know what the hell he was doing and has not known what he is doing, been able to do with Jaylen Brown since the very moment this season ended, and probably from years beyond this. This is one of the worst trades that I can think of. This is Luka Doncic-esque, what we're talking about. Nico Harrison is somewhere popping a bottle because he is not the person that is responsible for the worst trade. He's right there with this Jaylen Brown trade. You have given away a guy who is a MVP candidate to Philadelphia, to a rival, the team that just beat you in the playoffs, for one draft pick essentially, because Philadelphia has been trying to get rid of Paul George and could not find anybody to send him, to take him at all. You have to attach a pick to do that. So you got him and sent him to Boston and got a guy that can help you win a championship. Brad Stevens did that. And after all this time in this offseason where he has been complaining about the stock from Jaylen Brown has been going down, Brad Stevens and the Celtics are responsible for that. The call has been coming from inside the house. You're responsible for the lack of interest in Jaylen Brown because of what you have been putting out there about him. And I, for the life of me, do not understand if two guys, Gonzalez, right, and they're the reason that you're not getting Giannis, and you go on and Paul George is the other guy that you get instead. There's nothing about this trade that makes any sense for me. And I'm going to, again, somebody's going to have to show me where Brad Stevens is being genius about this.
There's a million ways that we can talk about this. We can start with, if you're going to put Jaylen Brown onto the trade market for Giannis Antetokounmpo, you better damn well make sure you got to get the trade done, and you cannot haggle over back-end rotation players to say, no, that's where I draw the line. Because you wind up having to make a trade like this. And you wind up having days in between where it feels like you have this guy dangled out there as if you are treating him with spite. There is a world, though, where you can decide as the Boston Celtics and say, you know what, since we won that championship, we've won one playoff series with Tatum and Brown together. And we're not going to trade Jason Tatum. We cannot afford both of them making the loan money that they're making in this salary cap apron NBA. I know nobody wants to hear about that reality. Maybe that is, I'm giving them the most benefit of the doubt by presenting that scenario, because on its face, it doesn't seem to make sense. Now, if you're saying Jaylen Brown does not want to go back to being a supporting player next to Jason Tatum next year, I can accept that, because once you lead a team to 56 wins with the characters that you had around you, you're going to think, I'm the guy, I am rightfully the guy, everybody should line up behind me. But we don't know if that was even the scenario that was going to be presented. We're only speculating. There are so many pieces to this puzzle that we have yet to figure out, because on paper, it does not make sense. And you send him up the street to the Philadelphia 76ers, which also lets you know they don't fear Jaylen Brown coming back to haunt them, or they felt like his market was so low across the league for whatever reason that this was the only place they could send him. Either way, none of those answers seem like it makes sense.
Perk, help us make sense of it.
I can't. This was the dumbest trade, one of the dumbest trades in NBA history. And I couldn't help but think of the late, great Tommy Heinsohn, God rest his soul. He's turning cartwheels in his grave right now. The late, great Bill Russell is turning cartwheels in his grave right now. JoJo White is turning backflips in his grave right now. Like, Brad Stevens has completely took a hit on his legacy. Everything that he has done up to this point, for as him being the head coach, for as him running the organization, he has took a hit, and he will always be remembered for this situation right here. This wasn't business. This trade had nothing to do with business. There's nowhere in hell you could be a person that think logically about the game of basketball and feel like this and feel like this trade makes sense. Getting back Paul George for a guy that's a top 10 player in the game, for a guy that's arguably one of the best two-way players in the game of basketball in Jaylen Brown, and you trade him to a division rivalry, to a division rival, excuse me. This was all about emotions and feelings. Once he dropped the ball with the Giannis Antetokounmpo deal, he didn't know how to go to Jaylen Brown. It wasn't no uncomfortable conversation that Brad Stevens could have had with Jaylen Brown. So at certain point, you hear the whispers, you hear the things that are being put out that, you know, the organization had grown frustrated with Jaylen Brown in his live stream. And y'all know how I feel about players podcasting and doing live streams while playing. Either or, Jaylen Brown, between those lines, he's reliable. He show up every night. He plays at an elite level on both ends. In my opinion, Brad Stevens, listen, we thought Nico Harrison needed security 24 hours a day. Brad Stevens needs security 24 hours a day right now. Because I'm going to tell you this, the Celtic fan base is not happy, and they're on his ass like back pockets, and I'm talking about apple bottoms, and I'm dead serious when I say this. Look, I understand he was feeling the pressure, but how about calling Cleveland? Cleveland actually have some more things over there that would have made more logical sense. Maybe a Evan Mobley, maybe a Donovan Mitchell. But you're talking about Paul George. Paul George hasn't been consistently good or reliable since I was skinny. You know how long that's been? That's been about 7-8 years ago. You can't trust Paul George. And by the way, let me ask y'all a question. Where the hell is Jason Tatum in all this?
You're real quiet right now, and you look real svelte, Perk. Give yourself a little bit of credit. You're looking pretty good these days. But you brought up something with Cleveland that I don't think is being talked about enough. The season does not start tomorrow. There is a whole lot of time to figure out what this league is going to look like until we get to training camp in 2 months. David, why not wait? You can't possibly